Welcome everybody to day 34 of building the flight booking engine. Today I want to build a log manager for the backend. Over the first few weeks, we've been working on integration, and I thought it is time to now get back to the backend and do some more things. Like I told you, this is going to be an end-to-end application. We have done a lot of backend, we have done front end, we have done DevOps, okay? And let's go to the backend and do logging. So what is logging? Think about logging as a way to create a diary for your application, okay? A way to know what is going on in your application. You see, many times when we run the backend, we see a number of things happening. You see, like, for example, what I'm sharing right now on my screen. If I expand this and I scroll, because I can scroll, but if I run this app, this again, and I say docker compose app, okay, whatever happens, okay, says error daemon failed to start connecting. These are logs, okay, these are logs, okay, but this is okay. I know why it has failed, okay, because it says port. I think this port is already allocated, okay. This is okay, okay. Some other application is using that port, but I can even disable it, okay, right now, because it's here. And this is the other application, okay? So if you see this application, there's a amount of information happening, okay? It talks about unauthorized access, okay? If we can expand into this for you to see, okay? It's also a Django application, by the way, that I'm building for a client in Nigeria. But you see, all these are logs, okay? All these are logs. So I'll stop it, okay? And go back to the side, okay? But even then, this is what a log is all about, okay? A record of what is going on in your application, okay? Whether it is good or bad. So if I come back here and clear, okay, you'll see basic logs, okay? Information given to us by Django. So think about logs as a diary of your application, okay? A diary taking note of what is going on in the application. And I want my backend to have logs. So I'm going to create a class, okay, called the log manager that will be responsible for handling all the logs, okay? As simple as that. I'm going to create a class, okay, that can be reusable. And I'll go to utils, okay? I'll create it for now here. Later I can put it in any other location. If you have a better location for me to put it in, please suggest, okay? So I can call it logger, okay? And then it log manager. Let's call it log manager like that, .py, okay? And follow me closely. I'm going to try my best to explain to you several things concerning logging, okay? Now, to implement logging in our FastAPI project, okay? In this FastAPI project, we can make use of an inbuilt tool, okay? In the Python community, okay? Not in the Python community, but in the Python, which comes with Python, okay? It's called the logging module. I say import logging, okay? So if I hover over it, okay, you say it says logging package for Python, okay? So logging is a package, okay, for Python, not a module rather, but a package, okay? Not a module, but rather I mean, it is a package, okay, and not a module. So this module is a good first step for us to write logs, okay? But of course, when you import something, doesn't mean you're using it, okay? You need to do more, okay, to be able to use it, okay? So that is what we're going to use, okay? Luckily for us, FastAPI is also a Python framework, okay? So because FastAPI is basically Python, we can use the inbuilt login package, okay? So I'll go on and create my class, okay? And using this class, I'm going to look at it, look at AI. AI already knows what I want to say, okay? But it is smart, okay? I'll say class, okay, log manager. I'll accept that, okay? But I'll not accept it's what it's suggesting. I'll say pass for now, okay? So I'm going to create a class called log manager. And this class is going to let me put here some comments, okay? This class is going to be a singleton, okay? A singleton class. What does singleton mean, okay? First of all, what is the spelling of singleton? Let me zoom in so that you can see. Singleton is spelled like this, okay? So what does singleton mean in computer science or in the world of software engineering? Singleton means that at any one point you must have only one instance of your class. Okay, so remember, a class is a blueprint for creating objects or instances. So at any point, we should only have one. Okay, that's what singleton means. The design pattern that enables us to have one. So in my entire project, I want to have only one log manager. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to try to achieve that. So let us try to achieve that. Okay, I have a short time today, but I'm going to try to work within time. If the time is not enough, then we shall continue in the next stream. Okay, it's funny how time moves. I already see 5 minutes have passed. Okay, so before that, I need to talk about something called logging levels. Okay, but before talking about logging levels, I'm going to set a constant here. It's going to be called the default log file. Okay, default log file would be equals to, I'll call it API, I'll just say backend. Okay, backend dot log. Okay, yeah, backend dot log. Okay, this is where we're going to store our logs. Okay, one way is by having your logs to the stream here. I think this is called the standard output. Okay, to this stream here, to this console. Okay, this console is also called the standard output. We can have our logs the standard output, or we can have them in a file. In my case, I want them to be in a file. Okay, I want them to be in a file. So I will go ahead, okay, and define it like you've seen. The default log file is this. Then another thing I'm going to do is determine the default log level. Okay, I'm going to put log underscore level. Okay, so these are going to be constants. Okay, and I'll say this will be equals to, okay, login.info. Okay, from the login module, login.info. So AI is trying to suggest a number of things. Okay, so I need to explain log levels. Okay, so we have a number of log levels. Okay, and you don't have to cram them. If I forget, we shall remind ourselves. Okay, by checking the official documentation. Okay, the first log level, okay, is the debug. Okay, so they call it debug. Okay, this is the first log level. Think about it as level 1. Okay, so this debug level, what is it? What is it for? Okay, this is when you want to troubleshoot. Okay, you want to troubleshoot. Okay, you want to troubleshoot, and it usually has detailed information. Okay, detailed information, and you always want to find out like what is going wrong, what bug am I facing, how can I solve it. Okay, so it's for when you're usually in development. Okay, then the next level is called the info. Okay, so AI is trying to suggest, okay, the info. So what is info for? The info level is simply a level where you try to, I don't know how, I need to find out disabling these suggestions for, they're so disruptive. Okay, so info level is when you just want to give general information, okay, about what is going on in your application. Okay, think about it as general information. Okay, general information about what is going on in your application. For example, maybe someone has logged in successfully, someone has probably saved their username, someone has updated their password, someone has maybe logged out. Okay, maybe someone has added to cart, or maybe someone has booked a flight successfully, someone is searching maybe for trips from maybe Nigeria to Ghana, something like that. Okay, just general information about what is going on in your application. That is the info. Okay, next up, okay, we have the next level is when we have the warning. Okay. So warning level is where now you log, okay? You print a log of something which can potentially go bad, okay? A potential issue, okay? Where something is going to happen, okay? Maybe something could, and you want maybe to be aware about it, that something could happen concerning this, okay? So you log it, okay, with a level of warning, okay? Then another level is called error, okay? So error, with the log level of error, usually you find that it's a more serious issue, okay? And it can cause damage to your application. Maybe even something bad has happened. For example, maybe a database connection has failed to happen, but the application is still running, okay? Or maybe a connection to a particular external service has refused to happen, okay? Maybe someone cannot, orders are not being saved anymore in your application, okay? But it is continuing, okay? But it is something very concerning, okay? So it's a serious issue, okay? And could prevent, okay? Think of it as more serious, okay? More serious, okay? More serious problem. So then the last one is called critical, okay? So critical is now when the application has failed, okay? Okay. So an application failure, okay? I'll say now where things can cause application failure, okay? That is when you log critical, okay? So if I say that my default log level is info, okay? It means all the bug logs are not shown, okay? If I say my log level is warning, okay? Only warning, error, and critical are shown. Info and debug are not shown, okay? So it is one, so it is in hierarchies, okay? So when I said my default level is warning, okay? Or if I say my default level is error, okay? It means I'll only get error and critical shown to me. The others are, these others here will not be shown, okay? So in my case, I want to put login.info. And this is something common you'll see, that most people set login.info as their default log level, okay? To see general information, potential issues, serious problems, okay, that have happened, but the application is probably still running, and then critical, which are causing your application to fail, okay? So these are the different levels. So take note of that, okay? If I set error, it means I'll have error and critical only. These others above it won't happen. If I set debug, all of them will be shown, okay, according to level of importance. So it matters what you log. So I can now delete this. I hope now you understand why I have this, my default log level. So I'll remove this, okay, and continue just to make sure everything is okay. And I want to look at my notes to be sure what I'm doing, okay? Then another one is the default. Can I spell default correctly? Default log format, okay? So for default log format, I'll put a string, okay? And this time, okay, actually you can see AI has suggested, okay? And we can, I'll explain to you, okay? Each of them, I'll autocomplete and I explain to you. We can go one by one, okay? So when I say percent, okay, and do this, okay? This is what? These are like placeholders, okay? These are placeholders. So I'll say ask time, okay? Like that. Let me just autocomplete and explain to you, okay? So this when you say percentage like this, okay, in Python, this format, it's a, what is it called? A placeholder. So in this first position here, okay, Python will replace it, okay, the logging module will replace with the ASCII time. So what is ASCII time? Okay, this first ASC is an abbreviation for ASCII, okay? ASCII, okay? ASCII is a standard, okay? of how things should. So how will ASCII time look like? Okay, ASCII time will be simply something like this. Okay, you'll have a date. Okay, you have a date. Let's say maybe that. Okay, then probably the month. Okay, then the day. Then you'll have the hour. Okay, you'll have the minutes. You'll have the seconds. Okay, and it can go way down up to milliseconds. Okay, so think about this one here as the date time. Okay, date time. Then after that, we can have the actual name. Okay, so this name, I want to put it, I want to change it. Okay, I want to change it. I want to explain in a moment. I want to remove and put there like that. Okay, I like it being in this order. Okay, so the type, okay, then the level name. So this is a placeholder for the level name. So what will be level name? It will be this. Okay, either login.info. Okay, or I can say login.one. Okay, like that. Okay, or login dot what is it called? There are many. See this info. Okay, we have the warning. Okay, warning there. We have debug. Okay, we have the critical. Okay, so this will be this name here. Okay, so the date time. Okay, then the level name. Okay, so I'll turn mine back to info. Then after that, name. Okay, we have name, but this name here will simply be the name of the module. Okay, so it will be underscore name underscore the value of underscore name. Okay, so remember what you learned in Python when you're learning Python underscore name. Okay, if you run a Python script or a Python module directory, underscore name will be equals to main. Okay, it will be equals to have the value of main if you remember. Okay. Let me just check. I see my internet. Just a moment. I hope it's okay. Someone is asking a question. I have a confusion. Is there where we implement logs when project initiating or after completing the project? Actually, ideally, you're supposed to implement logging, okay, as you create the project. Okay, imagine you're creating a function. Okay, let me answer your question. Imagine you're creating our function like if I go to routers, okay, like in this flight order, okay. Ideally, as I build this function, as opposed to add logging to it, okay, and maybe write a log here, maybe like saying maybe logger.log, okay, success, okay, booking created with this, okay. So I guess you do it while you do it while you're building, okay. As you build, implement, okay. But of course, if you not put it, if you're not implemented logging as you build, you can implement it later, okay. Yeah. So whether you've completed the project, but usually it's best to do it as you're building. So that actually when you want to debug, okay, you can have debug statements, okay, to help you see what could be wrong in case things are going off, okay. So do it as you implement the project, okay. Mine, I'm just doing it later, okay, because I just wanted to teach it as a separate topic, okay. I wanted to teach topic logging as a separate topic so that people can understand it, okay. So let's continue. Hope I've not missed out. All right, great. So remember when you say underscore name, actually it's underscore main, I think, if I remember, okay. When you run a Python module directly, okay, the value of underscore name will be main. So in the event that the value is underscore main, okay, this name here, okay, the value of name is what will be here, okay. So I'll remove that. But even there's something else I want to put after this, okay. I want to put the line number, okay, the line number where the issue where it was logged, okay. And say line, okay, no, just be percent, the placeholder, Then I say line NO, then D. So just a placeholder. Okay. Thankfully for AI, I'm not supposed to cram this. Then maybe let me just separate them using what? Pipe symbols like this instead of dashes. And also here. Okay. So this is the date time, the level name, like I've explained with the info, warning, debug. This is the name. This name is the value of, like I've said, underscore, name, underscore, underscore. Okay. And like you can see, we're going to pass that value. Then it's the line number where things went wrong. Then this is the actual message, like maybe, hell, a user has logged in. Okay. Or maybe so and so has done this. That's where we have that name. Okay. Then, what can we do next? Yeah, let's now move into the class. Okay. So this is going to be a singleton class, like I've explained you. Okay. It's going to manage. Okay. To manage and configure logging. Okay. And say configure application logging, as simple as that. Okay. Now, to create that single instance, okay, I want to store a single instance of this. And I can see AI is trying to suggest what I want to do. Okay. Which is correct. Okay. I want to create a single instance of this class. Okay. And that single instance is going to be stored in a variable. Okay. Called instance. I'll say instance. Okay. But this instance, I want to make it, I want to say instance like that. Okay. But this instance, I want to make it private. Okay. By saying underscore. Okay. I'll put an underscore. If you remember your Python basics, you put an underscore. Okay. To make a variable private. So I'm going to make it private by saying underscore instance, okay? And by default, it's going to be none, like that, okay? But I want it to be cleaner. In fact, this is something I think we should have been doing since the beginning, and that is writing types, okay, for our code. So I'm going to do some typing, okay? So this type, I'll say this instance is of type, okay? Type of this class, okay? Log manager, okay? Or it can be none, okay? So we want to ensure that we have only one instance, okay? So do that, okay? So this is a class level attribute. So this is a class attribute or a private class attribute, okay? It's going to help us with the singleton pattern to have only one instance. So singleton pattern in software engineering or computer science simply means you have one object, okay? In our case, we want only one instance of our log manager, okay? Then, because of this, okay, because like I've told you, we're going to have the names, okay? We can have different log managers, okay? Let me just look at the chart. Log managers, we can have a log manager maybe for database, okay? We can have maybe log manager for maybe flights, maybe log manager for probably, I don't know, orders, log manager handling payments, okay? But they should only be what? They can be mainly, can I call them handlers, okay? That's the best way to call them, okay? The loggers, the individual loggers, okay? So those loggers are going to be built off this instance, okay? So those individual loggers, okay? I'm also going to put them in a variable, so that in a private variable, okay? So that I don't have to have more than one handler, okay? Imagine I have a handler, a logger for payment. I only want to have one logger. If I have a logger for database, I want to have one logger for database. If I have one logger for orders, I want to have one logger for orders. So I want to keep all those logging tools here, okay? So I'll say not logger, but loggers, okay? And I'll type annotate. I say dict, okay? So that, of course, every key will be a string, okay? And it will be, the values will be of type, so AI is correct, it will be of type logging dot logger, like that, okay? Logger, like that. And by default, this will be an empty dictionary, okay? So why a dictionary? Because with dictionaries, I can have access in almost constant time, okay? What people say, what people say big O of one, okay? accessing constant time. So let me undo that comment. Anything in the chat? All right, let's continue. Now, in Python, there's a function, a method, okay, the method called __str, okay, which is called every time an object is created, okay. But there's also another function called __new, okay, __new. Can I spell new? Okay. So most people know __str, okay. This one is called every time an object, one instance is created. This one is created. Now this one here is created, is called before, okay, before an instance is created. Notice that. So to do the singleton pattern, I want to use this method, this dunder method called new, which is called before an instance is created, okay. So we're going to use it to control object creation, okay. So I'm going to come here and say, just in case you'll need this definition, I'll say controls object creation. Yeah, I'll accept this comment, this completion by AI to ensure singleton behavior. Okay. So, so of course, like this one, you can take this function can take the CLA, the class, okay, and also it can take args and quags, okay. So quags, args, okay, which are variable length arguments, and quags, which are key value arguments, okay, if you know about them, okay. I would expect that you guys know about them. And of course, I can annotate it by saying it is of type, okay, log manager. So if you don't know about Python annotations, okay, maybe I can make a video doing that. But simply what you're saying, that this function here is going to return an instance of this class, log manager, okay. All right, let's continue. So you can see AI is starting to suggest what we can do, but I want to go step by step, okay. So we have to first check, okay. Of course, the ultimate goal of this function, okay, if there's an instance, okay, we simply return it, okay. You can say simply return, I say class dot underscore instance, okay. Because remember, the goal is to return an instance of this class, of log manager instance, okay. What is AI doing? Should I just disable it? Okay. So, but before that, we need to check if no instance exists, okay. If no instance exists, we create one, okay, using the parent class new method, okay. Don't forget your object-oriented principles, okay. If no instance exists, we're going to create a new instance using the parent class's new method, okay. So how do I know that an instance does not exist, okay? You see what AI is suggesting? I'll just follow along. I'll check if instance, okay, is none, okay. Come on, is none, okay. Then I'll say, go to the next and say, yeah, what actually AI is suggesting is correct, okay. So I can now say the instance will be, I call the parent class's new method. How do I get my parent class? Okay, using super, okay. Remember using super, and super can help us access the parent class, okay. So this is a reference to the parent class. And remember, the parent class also has a new, okay. So we call new and pass in this class, okay, which is the log manager, okay. And you can see we've also passed it here. This is how it works, okay. Remember your Python skills, okay. Then once we have done this, okay, if if no instance exists, okay, we do this, okay. Otherwise, if an instance exists, okay, we simply return it. Let me check the chat to make sure if there's any question I can answer. Okay, so time to progress. Now, after for the first time, if there's no instance, okay, and we have created an instance, using the parents class new method, okay, like you're seeing on line 21, okay. I want to run a setup function, okay, to set up this instance, okay, of the logger. That function is going to be a private instance method, okay. I'll say define a function called underscore, I won't call it, it's going to be private, configure logger, but I'll say root logger, okay. I'll explain this in a moment, okay. Then it will return nothing, so I'll say none. Then of course, because it's an instance method, the first variable here should be self, okay. So for now, I'll make it empty like that, okay. Then I go up here and say the class, okay, with underscore instance dot, then I call that the method here, okay. I call this method configure logger. What is AI doing? It's going to make me to make mistakes, okay, like that. This is supposed to be one underscore. What's this AI thing doing? Crazy stuff. Okay. So you see, if there's no instance, we create it, okay, by calling it the parents class new method, okay, and then we now call a function to configure the root logger for us, okay. So here, let's now go ahead, okay. Here, I'll simply create another doc string, okay, so that you can read on your own. So this one is, I can say it initializes, okay, initializes and configures the main global settings for all loggers. Okay. Now let us start. Okay. What's that main logger? What is the AI saying? I'll not follow what AI is saying. In fact, let me remove this. I don't need the terminal today. So I'll say root, okay, underscore logger. Okay. I'll put a variable called root logger will be equals to logging. Okay. Logging. Remember, logging is this method, is this importation. Okay. Logging dot get logger. Okay. That is a method called get logger. Okay. This will be our root logger. You get root logger. Just checking the chat, make sure I'm not missing out on any question. So that is the root logger. After the root logger, we can now set the level. Remember the level that we had up here. Where is it? This one here, the default level. We can now tell it that, of course, the default level by they can change. For example, this level by they can come from environment variables. Even the logging file can come from environment variables. Even this format, you can pick it from environment variables, okay? Depending on how it works for you, okay? So now I can say root underscore logger dot is a method called set level, okay? And now I can specify that I want this to take the default log level, okay? So the default log level, remember, is info, okay? Is info, okay? So this is the minimum level, or think about it as the minimum level of seriousness, okay? So that means, like I've told you, when we set the log level to info, it means the bug will not be shown, okay? Then after that, we need to format, to create a format, to format, okay, our logs using this format, okay. To do that, we need to create a formatter, okay. We need a formatter, okay. So this, I'll say formatter, if I can spell formatter correctly. So the formatter will be equals to this logging, okay, dot get dot formatter, okay. So I'll say logging dot formatter, okay, as simple as that, okay. Then later we shall add this formatter to the logger, okay. So the first step is you create a formatter, then you add it to the logger. So now I can say, I can set the default, the format, okay? Default log format. Inside here, set the default log format like that. Then when you're now done, we can now add, okay? We can add, okay, to it a formatter, okay? But before that, just check one more time to ensure we're all good. Okay, so we can move on. Just checking my notes so that I don't miss out on anything, okay? Now, like I've told you, there are two ways before we add this formatter to this, okay? There are two ways you can, basic ways for now that you can handle logs, okay? You can handle take them to the stream, okay? To standard output. Are you seeing what is here, okay? This is what they call the standard output, okay? And you find when people calling it std, they call it std out, like that, okay? The standard output, okay? So to send it to this standard output, you need something for that, okay? What they call a stream handler, okay? If you want to log to a file like we have up here, okay, you'll need a tool to help, another handler, okay, to help you send the logs to a file, okay? So you can send it to standard output, which is simply like our stream here in my terminal, or I can log to a file, okay? So before that, I want to make sure that there's only, if we have a stream handler, okay, for logging to our console, okay, or to our terminal here, okay, I want to make sure that there's only one, okay, and that I only create that stream handler if it does not exist, okay. To do that, okay, I'll write an if statement, okay. So I'll do that. To do that, I'll have to loop through. I think this these loggers, okay. I'll check this list, this dictionary to make sure that there's no what. Let me see, what am I looking for? Okay. Let me just minimize this. I thought AI had changed something here. I was getting confused, but it's okay. And good thing I have my notes near, because I get lost, because I wrote down step by step what I wanted to do today. All right, so now I'll do this, okay? I'm going to find out the current handlers, okay? So I'll say, to do that, I have to loop, okay? I'll say for H will be handler, okay? In root logger, this is the root we created, okay? With underscore handlers, okay? AI is correct, okay? So for every handler, okay, I am going, okay, to check, okay, if this one here, okay, this handler here, let me just call it handler. Say handler, okay. So I'm going to do inline streaming like this, okay. Then I say if, okay, if this handler, okay, the method code is instance, okay. If this handler, okay, I want to check if this handler, each of this handler is an instance of logging. Again, where is logging coming from? Don't forget, just this up here. Logging dot stream handler. Okay. So the stream handler is what is going to help us to log to the console. Okay. So I'm checking that in our root logger, okay, if there's a possibility, okay, of having a handler which is a stream handler, okay, in case there is any, okay, in case there is any, okay, we should not create, okay, we should not create a stream handler. But if it's not there, okay, now what if there is any, okay, remember there's a function in Python called any. Okay, I can say any. Okay, and any will return true in case there's anything. Okay, okay, in case there's one occurrence, it will return true. Okay, otherwise we shall have false. So I can simply say if not. Okay, if not any. Okay, meaning if there is no stream handler, meaning there is no handler to log to our stream, I mean to the console, then we can. So I can put here a full colon. Okay, so yeah, it is quite, that's why you see me, I went slowly so that you get it. Okay, so if you're not getting it, you'll have to rewatch this bit. Okay, and go slow. So now here I can now create the console handler. Okay, like you can see AI is suggesting, say console underscore handler, console handler equals to, of course I would just press tab to complete this, but I want you to understand what is going, which would be logging dot stream handler. Okay, and this is a method. Okay, now this stream handler needs to write things to our terminal. Okay, our terminal is what they call, what I was telling you, that is called standard output. Okay, is the standard output. Okay, what I was telling you is this std out. Okay, to get that std out, to get the standard output, to pass it here, we can import a module called sys. Okay, import, if you've been doing Python for some time, you know sys. Okay, import sys, then I can come here and I say I pass sys dot std out, like that. Remember, there's also std error for standard error. There's also std in for standard input. Okay, this is something you need to learn as a developer, not just Python, but as a developer. Standard output, standard error, standard input, but ours is out. Okay, so it will be, our stream handler will be logging to standard output. Okay, which is simply our console or terminal here, this one. Okay, then now since we have this handler, okay, we can now tell it, okay, about the format, to use this formatter. I can come down here and say console handler dot set formatter. Okay, then we pass the formatter. Okay, which is this one here. Okay, now then finally I can tell the root logger to that I have a handler. Okay, I can create a space, I can say root logger dot add handler. This means I got the handler, then we add this console handler. Okay, so this root logger has one handler. Okay, for logging to our terminal. Okay, very interesting, very nice. Okay, if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, we are here to understand these things. So yeah, pretty nice, pretty nice, pretty nice. So if there is no stream handler, okay, we create a stream handler, and like I've showed you, it is streaming to standard output. In our case, is our console here or terminal. Okay, and we have set the formatter, okay, which is this formatter, which takes a default log format, which I explained to you is up here. Okay, the date time, the log level, which is can be info, one. And if you're just joining right now, at the beginning of this video, I explained log level, so you might want to go back and watch again. So once we're done with that, we need now to add. So this is for the, I want to put here comment. Okay, do I remember how to put comments? So this is for console handler. Okay, so you should only have at most one console handler. Okay, for our root logger. Then also, let me just say have one console handler so that you understand better. Then here I can say for a file. Okay, remember I have a file up here. Okay, the default log file. So I can minimize this. Then I say have one file handler. Okay, So in the same way, okay, so if you missed the previous explanation, I won't repeat again, okay. I will loop through all handlers. So I'll say for handler, okay, in where do I find the handlers? In our root logger, okay. I'll say root underscore logger dot handlers, like that, okay. So I have all my handlers, okay. But I want to check if if the handler is now this time not a stream handler, but there's something called a time rotating handler, a time rotating file handler, okay. And I'm going to import it first of all. So that time rotating handler, you can say from logging, okay, dot handlers, you see, import time rotating file handler, okay. What is a time rotating handler, okay? A time rotating file handler is one, okay, which at a specific time can help us erase logs from a file, okay. We can tell it keep logs for maybe the past, maybe this amount of time, okay. After that amount of time, every day at midnight, okay, do a cleanup. So this is called a timed rotating file handler, okay. At a specific time, it cleans up our logs, okay. So let us work on it. Check the chat. So let's now go ahead, okay, and understand how to work with this time rotating handler. So now, okay, I'll come and say now, if this handler, okay, if at some point a handler, okay, is an instance, okay, so this I'll come here at the beginning of the for, okay, and I say if I'll say is instance, okay, if this handler, okay, what is AI doing? Okay, I want to explain properly without interruption. If this handler is an instance, okay, of the time rotating handler, okay, how do I how do I say how do I put it? How can I have all these checks? Okay, I can wrap all this in the brackets. Okay, like this. Okay, so this will give us the enumeration, okay, of all handlers, okay, and whether they are instances, okay, of time rotating handlers or stream handlers. Remember that is instance is a method that returns a boolean, true or false, okay. Now, like again, I'll use this function called this inbuilt function in Python called any, okay, that if any of these, okay, remember any is simply a function, okay, like that, okay. So it returns true or false, a boolean, okay? If anything in the interval is what? Is can be truthy or true, okay? So I don't have to go into truthy values right now to confuse you, okay? But in any case, okay, we have something that is true, okay? That one of our handlers, what is AI doing, okay? In the event that we have that one of our handlers in the root, remember you say root logger dot handlers, and we are looping because there might be more than one, okay. In the event that there's already at least one, okay, that is a time rotating handler, okay, we shall get true. This any will return true. Why? Because its instance will also return true. Okay, so if we have true for any, okay, even yes to at least one, then we should not create. Okay, we should not create them. But if it's the opposite, false, then we create. Why do that? I simply say if not. Okay, this is the basic Python you have learned. Okay, then I can put here full colon, go to the next line. Okay, then the same way, so you see that this line is similar to this. Okay, what is changing is simply the type we're checking for here. Here's a stream handler, here's a time rotating file handler. So let's create now that handler. Okay, so to create that handler, I'll say file underscore handler, okay, is equals to timed, not time. I keep saying time, but it's timed, okay? There's that D, okay? Time rotating handler, okay? Then inside here, I can now specify things like the default log file, okay? Remember, it's fair. It's a file handler, okay? So I can specify the file as backend.log, okay? Backend.log like that, okay? Then when should the rotating happen? Okay, let me just check my someone earlier was asking me about whether to use Flutter or React Native. Whichever you use is okay. I hope you're doing great. Yes, I'm doing great. I hope you're doing great too. AI. How do you pronounce the name? Do you pronounce your name as Wuri or Wuri? Wuri, okay. Thank you for joining, okay. Yeah, when the time comes, we shall decide whether to use Flutter or React Native. It's been a while since I've been in touch with the mobile development world, okay. We shall study about, we shall have to catch up with what is trending, the trade-offs, compare the how that has gone versus maybe TypeScript or JavaScript, compare the communities, compare the support over time, compare the several things, okay? Then we shall decide between Flutter and React Native. All right, let's continue, okay? So you remember it is called a time rotating handler. Because it's a time rotating handler, we need to know this, we need to specify when this can happen, when the rotation should happen. So I'll say when will be equals to midnight, like you can see AI has suggested, okay? How often, the interval is simply how often, and AI is suggesting one, and also I'll go with that, okay? That should how often meaning like how often should this happen, okay? So intervals of 1 day, okay? So how often? 1 day at midnight, okay? How many files should we keep, okay? The value called the backup count, okay? I'll say 7, okay? You keep 7, you keep the last 7 daily files, okay? Then the encoding, usually encoding is UTF-8, okay? Is your most common encoding today, okay? If you don't know about encodings, I would suggest you learn about them, okay? But they're not that complex to understand, okay? But then I have an error. What is it saying? Was not closed. What was not closed? Time rotating file handler. Default log file, comma, when equals to midnight, comma, interval equals to 1, comma, backup count 7, comma, encoding. Interesting. Is it because of my indentation? But indentation looks correct. Says was not closed. Am I tired? What am I missing? I need your help. Help a brother, help. Why is it saying was not closed? Have I missed a comma? File handler equals to time rotating file handler, default log file, when equals to midnight. In terms of AI, let's find out what's the fix. Let us see what AI says. Let me check the chat. If any sharp guy has, let me see what it's saying. The problem is the missing comma after interval, which causes, so I'll close. Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah. Thankfully, AI has helped me. But do you know, by the way, for some reason I was checking for commas and I stopped only here. Okay. I guess my mind is tired, but yeah, it's right. Missing comma there. I was going to go crazy. Okay. AI to the rescue. So now, just like in this function, you see, I added the formatter and added the handler to the root logger. I'll do the same thing here. I'll say, okay, file handler dot set formatter. Okay, so this is a function. Then we set the formatter like that. Okay, this formatter here is used by our console handler and the one which is for the file. So they should have the same format. That's the goal. Okay. Then the root logger knows about the console handler. Down here, we also have to tell the root logger to know about the stream handler. Okay. And see AI is suggesting that root logger dot add handler, file handler. That's okay. Okay. Yeah. Progress. So I can close this, come here and try to wrap up this. Let's do a time check. Wow. I thought I would do this in a short time, but looks like streams really take time. Streaming takes time. Okay. Especially when you're trying to think through code. Okay. Now, just a quick recap. Okay. What we have done so far. We have imported the logging module sys to help us get the standard output, the file handler, okay, which will be time rotating handler. We have the log file, the log level format. We have our class, okay. We have a variable to store the single instance. We have a dictionary to help us handle the loggers. We have new. What is new? New is the function that is called before the danda method underscore str. Okay, remember that method. Okay, so str is a method that we call that is called when an object is created. New is a method that is called before an object is created. Okay, so because new is called before an object is created, I want to use it to control the singleton instance. What is singleton behavior? Having only one instance of the log manager. Okay, and this is what we are doing. If there's no instance, we create one. How do we create one? By getting a reference to the superclass and calling the new method of the superclass. Then after that, we can configure our logger. Otherwise, if this is not done, it means we have already a logger. So we simply return it. Okay. Then this configure logger simply is this private. Remember, this is it's a private function. Okay, a private method rather, a private instance method. Okay, that creates the root logger, sets the default log level, creates a formatter. Okay, and ensures that there's only one console handler and one file handler. Okay, as simple as that. And how do we ensure that there's only one time rotating file handler or stream handler? We simply loop through all the handlers, okay? And if there is no stream handler, okay, then we create the stream handler, set its formatter, and add it to the root logger, okay? The same thing here. We say create a file handler, okay? Set a formatter and add it. The same thing, okay? So the concept is the same. You create a handler, set its format, add it to the root logger. What is special about this one is that it deals with a file. So you specify the file. This default log file is this one up here. After that, specify when the rotation should happen, how often it should happen, how many files in the past should be kept, okay, and the encoding. So let's now go on, unless I've missed something in the chat. Chat looks okay. Let's go on. Okay. Now we want to create a function called getLogger, like you see AI is suggesting. Okay. This function will be responsible for retrieving a module specific logger. Okay. Because remember I told you about underscore name. Okay. This will help us to differentiate modules. Okay. So I'll say get define. This is going to be a public instance method. Okay. Not private. Get logger. Okay. And it will take, because it's an instance method, it will be self. Okay. Then the name, which is a string. Okay. And this should return a logger. Okay. So I'll accept the type hint. Okay. Then here I'll put my own doc string. Okay. Not what AI is suggesting. And I'll say retrieves, like I've told you, this one will retrieves a module specific. Okay. It's like AI has caught up with my thinking. Okay. module specific logger by name, creating it if it does not exist. Yes, that's what I want to do. So I'm going to show you how. Okay. Now remember we had this. Okay. We had this list of loggers, my friends. Okay. Now we shall say if, okay, the name, okay, this name here, this logger, okay, is not in this, okay, is not, looks like AI is going to go ahead of me. Let me go slowly so that you understand it. Is not in self dot underscore loggers, okay, like that, okay. Then what do I do? Okay, I can now, if it is not, meaning there is no logger, okay, so meaning we have to create it, okay. So if it is not there, we get a new one, okay. We get a new one from the Python logging system, okay. How do we get a new one from the Python logging system? I say logger is equals to logging, okay, dot get logger, call the method get logger, and then we pass this name, okay. We pass that name like that, okay. Then we also need to set its level, okay. By saying logger dot set level, okay. Then passing the default log level that we have above, okay. Then after that, the next line, I can say self dot underscore loggers, okay. Remember, it's a dictionary. It's dictionary loggers. We track it, okay, that we have created it. I'll say the name, okay. The key will be the name and the value will be the logger. As simple as that, okay. Then I can then simply, I think that is it, okay. Otherwise, if, okay, there's this logger, okay, in the dictionary, and remember this will be constant time operation, I would simply come down here and return it, okay. So return self, yeah, what AI is suggesting, self.loggers name, okay, because this is a dictionary and the key is the name. As simple as that. So get logger is simply for retrieving a logger by its name if it exists, okay. So yeah, we're moving, okay. So just want to minimize this too. So finally, we are done with our class. Can minimize the class. Outside the class, we can now create a global instance, okay? Only one global instance, okay? We shall say log, I guess call it the name of the file, log manager will be equals to log manager, like that, okay? So this one, okay? Doing like this, all this operation will be handled, okay? Here, before the object is created. This will handle everything for us, okay? Make sure that make sure that there's only one instance, okay? And in any case, if it's not there, we configure it, okay? Otherwise, if it's there, we simply return it. And like you've seen, you know the class for configuring it and yeah, doing all that kind of cool stuff. So I'll minimize this and let's finish this, okay? Now, here, I need like a helper function, okay? That will help us to get the logger. So I say define, okay? So get underscore app underscore logger, okay? Takes in the name, which is a string, okay? By default, the value will be underscore underscore name. Remember what I told you, okay? And if you don't know what underscore underscore name is, you may have to research, okay? But simply it's the name of the module, okay? When a Python module has not been imported, underscore underscore name will be, the value of underscore underscore name will be underscore underscore main, okay? That's why you see many people write things like this. If name equals underscore underscore main, okay? This. So I'll leave that. Okay, so this is just for, like you see, AI is suggesting. Let me try to put proper comments here. Okay. Wow, too much suggestions. Okay, let's call it a, it's a public convenience function. Convenience function. Okay. All other files call this to get their logger. Okay. So all functions will be calling this function, okay, by passing in the name, the underscore name, okay, to get their logger. How do they get their logger? Simply come here and say return, okay, this log manager here. Come on, what's AI doing? I want to type my own code. Log manager, okay. Then this log manager, remember, has this method. Do you remember this method, guys? Called logger. Okay. Come here and say logger manager dot get logger. Then we pass the name. Okay. As simple as that. We get the name from the logger manager. Let me see the chat. Okay, chat is clear. I hope you're all, yeah, getting something from this. So after you've got your logger manager, okay, that's it. Okay, unless I've forgotten something. I want to check my notes. I had my notes. And you know what is funny? I prepared this in the morning, but I was trying to rush. Let me see. We have this, okay. GitHub logger, which calls this, okay. So this, okay, calls get logger, okay. This is this, okay. If not loggers, we call this set level safe.loggers. Okay, then we have the configure root logger. Okay. So root logger, there it is, console, file handler. If any of you knows about logging, you can tell me if there's anything I'm missing, but yeah, so I'm seeing, yeah, instance is handled there. Okay. Here we configure. Just trying to skim through to see if there's anything I've missed. Then we have a function for getting the. All right. So now, how would you use this? Okay. How would you use this function? Okay. You can now import it. Hey, by the way, in the previous video, many of you saw I had messed up my stuff and it was failing because of the idiot env. Okay. But I fixed it. Okay. So it's happy days. So what I can do, okay, I can now go to, for example, if I go to flights, okay, routers flights. You remember the function that we wrote some time back, and we implemented some logging in it. I don't know if some of you remember it, okay, but we did implement some logging, okay. So I'm going to find it and then I show you what to do. Okay, was it flight order? No. Let's find it. So are you seeing up here? Where is up? Where is it? 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 Where did we use a logger? Did I remove it? I think I removed it. Okay. So what we can do, we can add logging. Okay. Oh, it's in the users. Let's first check users. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's in the users. Okay. So are you seeing this? Logger equals to login.get logger. Okay. So instead of having this separate loggers, we can create generic loggers. Okay. So like you see, where did we use it? Where do we use it? If I copy this, okay. Okay, we did it on the password, on forgot password. Yes, forgot password. That's where we implemented it. So what I can do is I'll remove this, okay, and remove this, okay. Then I'll say from, okay. Now I just need to import this one here, okay. We need to import this function get app logger. I'll say from log manager, okay, from backend dot utils dot log manager import get app logger, okay. Then I can initialize. I can say the logger, okay. Let me initialize it after the router stuff. So the logger will be equals to get app logger, okay. Now remember app logger here takes in a name, the name of the module, okay. Remember I told you this is a public convenience function that all other file calls to get their logger, okay. How do you know your logger? By your name, okay. So because here I'm checking that your logger is tracked by its name, okay. So I come here, I can reduce the space. We don't need that. Okay, 2 lines at least. So logger equals to, okay, get app logger. Then now in the reset password, maybe if I zoom out a little bit, in reset password, okay, here we are seeing our logger.info, okay. I just need to leave it like that, okay. I don't change it. So logger.warning remains, okay. So this, the log level for this would be info. The log level for this would be warning. Then you see logger.error, okay. This is another level, okay. The only ones which are missing are debug and critical. So that's how you'd use a logger, okay. And now I can apply it anywhere, okay. Apply it anywhere. For example, let's say in this verify set, okay. I can maybe log here, okay. Say maybe logger, okay, dot info, okay. And I say use that message that AI is suggesting valid password reset token used for user, okay. But this is just it, okay. There are things I need to do to all these functions like doing try catch and things like that, okay, before we can do the login and whatever, okay. We have to try and catch. Okay, I see like what we did. If I can close this, okay. I see this try. We had exception handling, okay. So that's what I will do, okay. So I wanted to show you this so that you understand, okay, understand it for yourself, okay. My goal today was to show you how to build a global logger, okay, and how to use it, okay, in your project, okay. So after this, I'm going to simply write a prompt, okay, and I'll use AI to do logs, okay, to all these functions. Then I will refactor, okay, and push the code. But I'm going to push this logger right now to GitHub, okay. And then if there's any challenge, any issue, yeah, I'll figure it out, okay. But this should be good to go, okay. Yeah, it's always good to code at such a time of the tired day. Many times I would think after working for a long time, by now I would be very tired. But interestingly, it's 10 p.m. here, and yeah, for some reason I managed to stay awake. But yeah, because I think I enjoy this. Okay, I enjoy coding and doing it like this in public. So yeah, I need suggestions from any of you. If you have a suggestion on how I can improve this log manager and how maybe I can use it, for example, like here, okay, let me know, okay. But what you should know that every module, okay, is going to have this. Wow, I forgot to put underscore name. This is supposed to be underscore name like that, okay. Every module is going to have this, okay, and this will separate the loggers. You get, it will separate the loggers. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching. share this so that other people learn. And see you in the next live stream.